Minnesota Timberwolves look like a completely different team now compared to how they started the season. The Timberwolves are starting to look like a dangerous bunch just in time for the playoffs. The T-Wolves are coming off two massive road wins back-to-back. They defeated the Warriors in Golden State on Sunday, and then 24 hours later, they secured another big win, this time in Sacramento, denying the Kings a playoff berth. The Timberwolves have now won 4 games in a row. The Timberwolves beat the Kings behind a well-balanced attack. Karl-Anthony Towns didn't play in this one since it was a back-to-back situation, but everybody else stepped up in his absence. 6 different players scored at least 15 points, and 7 players were in double figures. At 39 and 37, the Timberwolves are tied with the Warriors, but because Minnesota owns the tiebreaker, they are 6th in the West, while the Warriors are 7th. So that means if the playoffs started today, the Timberwolves would qualify for the playoffs. Minnesota is just 1 game behind the 5th place Clippers, and 1.5 games behind 4th place Phoenix, which will set the stage for another huge road game on Wednesday night, as the Timberwolves will be taking on the Suns, who could be getting Kevin Durant back from a sprained ankle. The Timberwolves know every game from here on out is very important, and so far, they've been answering the call. How's it going, everyone? It's Luca here, back with another video. In this one, I'm going to be talking about how the Minnesota Timberwolves deceived us all, and how they are playing some of their best basketball of the season right now. Please hit a like on this video, it does help the algorithm a ton. And please subscribe to the channel for more Timberwolves and NBA content just like this. Your support is greatly appreciated. It's pretty remarkable that the Timberwolves have all of a sudden looked good. Remember, for the better part of this season, the T-Wolves were labeled as one of the most disappointing teams in the NBA. Karl-Anthony Towns got hurt on November 28th and then missed a bunch of time. And this team just couldn't seem to get into any type of rhythm, playing a very inconsistent brand of basketball. But now, the Timberwolves are starting to show us what they're capable of doing. This is the team that Timberwolves fans expected to see throughout the season. When they did make that blockbuster trade for Rudy Gobert, the bar was set high. Expectations were automatically placed on this team, and T-Wolves fans expected the Timberwolves to look like one of the best teams in the West. Now, when you talk about dangerous teams in the bottom half of the West bracket, the conversation is usually about teams like the Warriors and even the Lakers, but call it since the All-Star break, the Timberwolves have arguably been the best team out of that group. And you can tell there's just more maturity and chemistry with this team right now. They have seamlessly integrated Karl-Anthony Towns back into this team after he missed more than 50 games. And these last 2 wins can't be overlooked. Beating 2 of the best home teams in a back-to-back scenario is no easy feat, especially that win in Sacramento when that place was ready to explode, as the Kings had a chance to clinch a playoff berth for the first time in 16 years in front of their home crowd. The Timberwolves denied that. This is what Rudy Gobert said. "We know we have the talent and personnel to be able to beat anybody on any given night. Really, out of urgency and consistency, we play every game like it's our last, and we play every game like there's no tomorrow. That's the mindset that we need," close quote. And you can tell that this squad is more serious about their business now, and that maturity came from trading for a guy like Mike Conley at the point guard position. And this is a move that doesn't get enough praise. We talk about some of the other moves that went down around the NBA trade deadline, but I really liked this trade for the Timberwolves. I know a lot of people were gravitating towards the Lakers getting D'Angelo Russell and what he was going to do for their team. But you look at what the Timberwolves ultimately did. They offloaded a guy in D'Angelo Russell who creates for himself for a guy in Mike Conley who is a traditional point guard. A traditional point guard that this Timberwolves team desperately needed. A guy who has created more for his teammates rather than himself. And it's been that unselfish play that has really had a positive impact on this team. And Conley's veteran presence has done wonders for some of the other younger players on this team. So Mike Conley on the Timberwolves has done a lot of great things, and we are seeing what the trickle-down effect of all of that is. And you look at some of the other positives on this team recently. Anthony Edwards, it was huge that he was able to come back as quickly as he did from a sprained ankle, because when it first happened, it looked like it could have been a lot worse. So the Timberwolves caught a big break with Anthony Edwards, and luckily he's back. And we know what Edwards brings to this team from an offensive standpoint, but he's also a solid defender. And Anthony Edwards has to be on his game if the Timberwolves do want to make some noise down the stretch here. You look at a guy like Jaden McDaniels, who has received a ton of praise lately. He has been locking guys down left, right, and center on defense. And Rudy Gobert, he deserves some of the praise as well. He's finally starting to hit his stride. He's coming off a nice 16-point, 16-rebound game against the Kings. And he has been really solid for this team. And then you look at a guy like Naz Reid. He has recently been such a big boost from off the bench for this T-Wolves squad. So the Timberwolves, they are starting to get the most out of their guys. This team is coming together nicely. And if the Timberwolves continue to play with this type of maturity and togetherness, they're going to continue to win these games. And they could very well finish in the 6th spot or higher and avoid the play-in tournament altogether. And let's just say the Timberwolves do in fact land the number 6 spot when it's all said and done. They would likely draw the Sacramento Kings in the first round, a team they've actually beaten 3 out of 4 times this season. So that would be a very favorable matchup for the Timberwolves if we get to that point. The most dangerous teams are often those who get hot towards the end of the season. And right now, that's what's happening with this Minnesota Timberwolves team. The Timberwolves went from this team can't get it together and this team is going to be one of the most disappointing teams this season to now, damn, this team could be a real threat in the West. There are only a couple games left, but these games are going to be huge because we know that every game from here on out is going to be a must win and every game is going to have playoff implications. So we'll see if the Timberwolves can continue to look good and expand on this winning streak. But right now, they are playing solid basketball at the right time. They've won 4 in a row, coming off 2 big wins. And they got the Suns on Wednesday. Then they got the Lakers. So the next 2 games are going to be massive. Then they catch a little bit of a break, taking on a Trailblazers team that has not looked good at all, and they're obviously shutting it down for the season. Then they got a Nets team that they can definitely beat. Then they got another team that has seemingly shut it down for the season in the Spurs. And then they got the Pelicans to end the season. That could be a big game for both these teams. So all of these remaining games are going to be huge for the Timberwolves, and we'll see how this team ultimately fares and where they finish in the Western Conference. But what have your thoughts been on this Timberwolves team, guys? Do you think this team can actually make some noise down the stretch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. The Timberwolves, they have been turning it on, and this is a team that has quickly changed the narrative, and they have reminded people that we gotta still keep an eye out for this T-Wolves squad. And again, guys, hit a like on the video. It does help it a ton. And please subscribe to the channel for more Timberwolves and NBA content. As always, thank you so much for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. This is Lucas signing off, and I'll catch you all again in the next video.